And now it's time for Spotlight with Thad Duncan.
Hi, I'm Thad Duncan. Welcome to...
Despite not having dedicated venues, artists in Del Norte are still bringing quality performances to our area. Gateway Education's Found Agate Theater recently put on 3 plays, a collection of 3 one-act plays, written by local playwright Howard R Patterson, who shares the director role with Kirsten Randrup. The performance was given in the Pacific Northwest Physical Therapy Building.
All right.
No. Hear me out. Do you remember Petey Radowski?
Peter the Pipsqueak. Yeah, guy slipped and fell in a public restroom. Lost a couple of teeth to an overflowing urinal.
Yeah.
Set in a booth in a not derelict but not classy bar, Vince and Saul are collectors for Jimmy, a ruthless crime boss. They accept the fact that the life they've chosen has certain inflexible rules, and that the people who choose that life need to adhere to those rules. They are not, however, without a moral compass. They're very protective of their favorite waiter, Trudy, who has a way of attracting the wrong men. When Vince and Saul aren't busy rescuing their friends, they spend the day reminiscing about the comical denizens of their world.
Actually, they said sterilize. Seemed a little harsh. What the hell were you doing taking ketchup packets? Ketchup's good for you. Lots of vitamins and stuff.
Set in street corners close to fast food establishments, Flo and Sin don't have a lot, but they have each other. Homeless on the streets of a large city, they've learned to get by in a social environment that would prefer a street sweeper to deal with them. Sin puts her faith in hope, while Flo sees hope as a dead-end street. Flo's persistent cough unexpectedly gives them both hope of a new life in sunny Florida. Filled with both humor and pathos, the story is current and impactful.
Well, Lucius wanted with a banjo. I'll never know. Lucius couldn't play the banjo? He lost his left hand playing chicken with a gator down the floor.
On the set of the nationally syndicated show Spotlight, Cal Pepper Devereaux and Tanqueray Bodine have been playing, touring, and recording down-home country music for 25 years. They've become successful enough to end up on the national talk show hosted by Thad Duncan. What follows is a comical account of their lives on the road, their recording sessions, and the unique bandmates they've had along the way. Cal Pepper is a guitar player/songwriter. Tanqueray is a self-taught tambourine player. The band has had its highs and lows, and Thad's interviewing brings them all to light.
I like the fuzzy. That's cute.
Kirsten Randrup has been involved with local community theater for the last 20 years, acting and directing for many plays with the Lighthouse Repertory Theater. We asked Kirsten, what was it like putting on performances in this particular space?
Oh boy. Well, I think this is the only physical therapy operating right now in Crescent City. So they have a lot of business and a lot going on, and so they keep adding more and more equipment and things and that encroach upon this space, which is legitimate. That's their business. So our space gets smaller and smaller, and our backstage space especially gets smaller and smaller. But we really feel welcome here, and we are accommodated as best we can be. So there's challenges of like hiding the backstage things. There are challenges of, getting all these windows in this fishbowl covered with all this cloth, things like that. Yeah.
We also asked Howard and Susan Daugherty if they preferred performing in front of a big audience or a more personal setting like this.
Personally, the bigger the audience, the easier it is and the more fun it is.
Really?
Oh, big audiences are the best, especially for comedy. Some audiences, you get a really small audience, people get almost afraid to laugh. They don't necessarily want to be the first ones to laugh. But you have a full theater of people, that's just the best feeling in the world.
See, so that's for him. So let me give you the complete opposite answer.
Oh.
For me, intimate settings, when you are, especially in Cal and Tanqueray, when you're the studio audience and bringing the audience right in with you and having that connection. I mean, when I was doing Flo and Sin in that last scene, you can feel the audience feeling it. Kirsten backstage could feel that the audience was engaged and that they were hurting too. So for me, I prefer small and and intimate. Now, it doesn't have to be necessarily this small, but when I'm on a stage and the audience is down here, you have that separation. And it's still wonderful, and it's wonderful because you know that people have enjoyed it and get it. But yeah, I like smaller.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I like small, intimate theater too. but
He likes it all. We like it all.
I like it all.
We just like doing theater.
If there's an audience, I'll make a fool of myself.
While having a venue of this size brings a unique experience, another thing that was unique about this production was that the writer was a part of the cast. We asked Kirsten, who directed 2 of the 3 plays, what was it like directing when the writer was there acting?
Yeah, that's interesting. One advantage of it is that if there are any questions about anything, I can ask the writer. He's right there. I mean, how often do we get to do that? And then the other side of it is, he has in his mind exactly how he wants everything to be. So there's in some sense I say, well, you know, I have to let my creativity be limited in that sense. But it's a very small sense. He's very open-minded and willing to listen to anything. So any ideas? Yeah, he's a creative guy. For me, directing is more like representing the audience before we get an audience. So I'm looking at, is the story being told clearly? Is the story being told consistently? Is the story being told the way normally we would imagine the author might want it, and now we can just ask them. And I think it's really important to have somebody out in the audience area with outside eyes. I've seen plays where really good actors didn't have directors, and they're not bad. But I think that you still notice the difference. I think having a director seeing the consistencies in the story and how the story is being told is really important.
And from the other perspective, we asked Howard what were the challenges of writing, directing, and acting in the same production.
I'm not big on challenges, so there hasn't been much. I enjoy all 3 of them, so there wasn't actually a challenge. It's just fun. If it weren't fun, I wouldn't do it.
Susan Daugherty played 3 roles in the 3 plays and was instrumental in persuading Howard to write up a complete evening of theater after she had read Cal and Tanqueray, which Howard had written for them both. We asked Susan if she had a role in writing.
This is all Howard's writing. Yeah. It was just always done with parts in mind. Like when he wrote Cal and Tanqueray, he'd written it for the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And so my involvement was basically just in reading the scripts and making suggestions. There was no writing of mine. I think that it wasn't so much reading them or going over them as much as having the full access to Howard and having an understanding of what he was looking for and what he wanted out of the characters. And then the rest of the characters, I mean, it kind of develops through actually doing the rehearsals and as you are off book developing that character. And like Kirsten had mentioned, to have Howard to ask a question off of it, and it was very interesting having him direct Flo and Sam this time. Overall, I just feel fortunate that I got to be 3 different people today for the audience, and now I get to go be me.
It's really refreshing to see performances by a group whose passion and years of experience were evident in their characters, direction, and script. Through each of these 3 one-act plays, Found Agate Theater showed just how hilarious, heartbreaking, and thought-provoking conversations between pairs who've been through everything together can be. I can't wait to see what they'll put on next. For Redwood Voice, I'm Monique Camarena.
I got a squint on account of the glare. Ruby lips like fire trucks in the rain. Your eyes got a wondrous hue, reminiscent of hiding blue. And your legs got that real blue ribbon bow. Tupelo, drove up to my house to wave goodbye. You sent me photos of the wedding and a few of the consummate. And the last shot was of a credit card. You broke my heart in three. It clipped me at the knees. You said the forearm shiver right through me down to my toes. You broke my heart in three. Now I'm awash at sea. And upon my tombstone it'll say, you broke my heart in three. And upon my tombstone it'll say, you broke my heart in three.